Halo is fucking back! It's the first 30 seconds of the video and I've already said fuck, but I don't give a shit because it's Halo and it's back after 6 years for another round. I guess if you want to get technical, 10 rounds because it's the last mainline game until 2031. And games are released every year. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Overmilk franchise. Yes, the 10-year plan is slightly worrying. However, it's had a better start than fucking Destiny 2. Some of you might disagree with that, and that's fine. If you want to get all angry, I'd like to direct you to the door. Let's stop babbling and get on with it. First, I want to mention that if you're going to say I'm a bit late on reviewing this game, shut the fuck up. No, I'm not. Everyone else can't fucking wait to review a somewhat complete game. It's like Fallout 76 all over again. Like, do we seriously have the collective attention span of the world's toddler population on a combo of crack and highly potent liquid speed? It certainly fucking seems so. Anyways, you might remember a shitbox dumpster fire that was released 6 years ago called Halo 5 Guardians. What a travesty. The campaign was absolute trash on fire, covered with an extra layer of pig shit. If you like Halo 5 unironically, God help your soul. Depending if you only like the multiplayer or not. Personally, I didn't, as there was advanced movement, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, personally, in any game, Halo or otherwise. Unless we're talking Titanfall 2, as it did it really well. Halo Infinite completely flipped the franchise's downward spiral and gave us a strong but still pretty flawed multiplayer campaign and core gameplay, which we will get into after we touch on the customization and progression system, or lack thereof. Halo Infinite's customization is a poor excuse, full stop, no questions asked. Why, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you why. The majority of armor and armor coatings are either locked behind a paywall or not even available to start with. And to add to that, there are different armor cores that you can't mix and match. Here they are. Mark 5B, Mark 7, and Yoroi. Well, at least players can't mix and match cores. Bots can. Why? Honestly, I couldn't tell you for the life of me. You see, back when we got the info on the customization, we were told that it would be far superior to Halo Reach's, and almost everyone was hyped as fuck. However, we didn't get that. Instead, we got armor sets that are locked behind paywalls and a lack of cross-core customization. That is a fucking mouthful. How is that better than Reach's customization? It isn't, plain and simple. And to add insult to injury, we also got slapped in the face with armor coatings. Gone are the days of custom colors and in with overpriced coatings that don't really look that great, if I'm being honest. I mean, take Blue Rampage for example. It's fucking orange more than it is blue. If I remember correctly, there is one coating that is plain white. One. Can you get it by playing the game? Nope, you gotta buy it. In all honesty though, I'm not that worried about it, as the community are telling 343 Industries to lower the prices of coatings and armor, which, mind you, they did fix in a very short amount of time. Yeah, like 3 or 4 weeks after the multiplayer. Do you mind? Sorry, just voicing opinions. Well, don't. It's not helpful. At all. Whatever, asshole. Fuck you, say bitch. Oh, fuck! Right, now that motherfucker has been kneecapped and covered with cement, let's move on to the progression system. It too is a poor excuse for one. At launch, you would only get 100 XP for completing a match and bonus XP for challenges that are far too specific. Now, it's slightly better than what it was at launch. I can't remember off the top of my head the exact amounts of XP you're granted each match, but I do remember that it does decrease the more matches you play. Essentially, you get granted like 70% of the required XP to level up your battle pass in your first match, and as you play more, it's decreased to 100 when you've played 7 or more matches per day. So each day, if you play up to 7 matches, you can level up your battle pass a few times before you get drip-fed XP again. Now, I'm not saying that it's good, because it isn't. What I'm saying is 343 listened to the feedback and adjusted the game accordingly, which is rare for games these days, as more often than not, the devs fix something only to have something else break, or they just completely ignore fans of the series and not do anything about it until they get threatened with legal action or have death threats. Which, if you do that, you're a piece of fucking shit and you should jump off a fucking bridge. Now, onwards to the multiplayer section. The multiplayer of this game is amazing so far, but very unpolished. There are some things that I don't like, such as a lack of any infection playlist, playable elites, but it doesn't really take away from the multiplayer that much as a whole. Some things that I do like, however, are how good some maps play. But just to go on another negative, some of these maps do really well with some modes while others struggle. Take Bazaar for example. It goes well with Slayer from my point of view, but not so much with CTF. Not that CTF is bad on Bazaar, it just doesn't play well enough that it sticks out as a good CTF map for me. Now we'll move on to a map that I'm not a huge fan of when it comes to every mode except for one. Deadlock. God, I hate this map when playing every other mode. Total Control works well enough on it that I can't really hate it. I guess in a way, the map sort of redeems itself with it, but not enough to be viable. I will mention one more negative about the multiplayer, as I feel it should be put out there. One side of the map gets more powerful vehicles than the other. I'm not sure why, as a lot of Halo games have had pretty even vehicle spawns, but Infinite, not so much. And just one more thing about vehicles before we move on to the campaign. They are pretty much made out of soggy paper. Although, one positive that does need a bit of work is the Doomed State. For those of you that don't know what that is, or just have the average IQ of a TikTok user, the Doomed State is when your vehicle sustains too much damage and pretty much goes on a fuse before blowing up. The reason this needs some work is that the sound that they make and the neon red glow they give off when they become doomed isn't really enough. I found myself staying in a doomed vehicle far too often. So a word to 343. Please do something about it. Which, with the track record of how they've been treating feedback in this game, that might actually happen. Anyways, on to campaign. The campaign is nothing short of brilliant. From the characters and their story arcs, all the way up to the boss fights. The open world is nothing short of fantastic. Sure, there are some really dull and boring areas. Dull and boring. Never thought I'd say that in a review about a game I genuinely enjoy. Holy shit. Anyway, moving on. Back to the characters. Master Chief is back to talking when necessary, which is a very welcome return. Not that I minded Chatty Chief. Chatty Chief? What the fuck? That sounds so weird to say that. Like, it looks fine when written down, but saying it out loud, Chatty Chief, what the fuck? But it's very jarring from going from Halo 3 to Halo 4, and Chief suddenly enjoys talking more. The pilot, or I guess his actual name, which I'll let him tell you himself,
Fernando Esparza,
is quite good. He goes from this guy that is stuck out in space drifting in a pelican to being fed up with Chief's lust for alien inside juices. What the fuck? Alien inside juices, what the fuck? Okay, let's try that again. He goes from this guy that is stuck out in space drifting in a pelican to being fed up with Fuck me! God damn it! To being fed up with Chief's lust for alien inside. Fuck! To being fed up with Chief's lust for alien insight. To being fed up with Chief's lust for alien inside juices and wanting to go home. Thank fuck I finally got that out. Holy shit, that sounds so goddamn bad, it's not even funny. I genuinely thought that I was being funny when I wrote that down, but now I just realized how fucking weird that is. What is wrong with me? To being more than happy to help Chief win the war on Zeta Halo so they can all go home. The weapon, or if you actually played to the end, Cortana 2.0. Okay, yep, we're gonna run with that because I'm running out of time to record this. Is also a great character. Always optimistic and happy to help Chief, to being really distrusting of him as he tried to delete her. To coming to terms with the fact that she is an exact carbon copy of Cortana, or I guess in an AI's case, yeah, you know what, I don't even know what you would say instead of carbon copy, because it's, like, it's pretty much the exact fucking same. I'm not gonna drone on and on about the characters, so now we'll get to the open world aspect of the game. The open world of Halo Infinite is actually surprisingly good, but it is pretty empty in certain areas, especially ones that you fight a boss in, like the ship graveyard that you fight 2 Spartan killer brutes. I forgot their names, unfortunately. I'll put them up on screen if I can find them. There is also the issue of a lack of biomes. Halo games generally have some pretty diverse biomes. Take Combat Evolved for example. In the second mission, appropriately named Halo, you are on the Halo ring itself. No fucking shit. And the biome you land in is sort of a Pacific Northwest. And then you're in, as far as I can tell, a desert that's got interconnected canyons, and then you're in snow, and then back in a desert in the final level. You see what I'm getting at here? There is DLC coming for Infinite, so I guess we'll see where that particular aspect goes when we're talking about climates and all that. Now the core gameplay. Oh, it's good. I can finally fulfill my childhood dream of being Spider-Man. The grapple shot is nothing short of fried gold, and no, I am not being sarcastic about a mechanic in a game. I know, how unusual. The repulsor is great, the thruster pack is back, that had a bit of a flow, not gonna lie. The sensor dart is alright, but not particularly useful in most situations, as far as I can tell. And the drop ball is just utter garbage in comparison. These different types of equipment each serve their own purpose, as they should. But what about the weapons? Well, some might say that they're all bad, and while I'm inclined to agree with them on some of the weapons, you have to admit they did get rid of a lot. And I mean a lot of weapon redundancy, which was a huge problem in Halo 3, Reach, 4, and obviously 5. And yes, to you Halo 3 fanboys that only want shitty 2007 netcode and projectile-based sniper. Yes, I do admit that sniping should take a bit of skill, but I think that's the reason that 343 shrunk the reticle sizing the higher you put your FAV. You may now shit, piss, and come to your heart's content, you fucking toddlers. And speaking of weapon redundancy, I remember some asshat bitching about how there aren't any Forerunner weapons. Like, dude, did you actually play the campaign like you said you did? Or are you just too busy being a fucking crybaby over the fact that there aren't any weapons from Halo 4 and 5? Everyone bitch and whinge so hard about the Prometheans when they turned up in Halo 4, but now they're bitching about the fact that their weapons aren't in Infinite. Why should their weapons be included, but not them? In short, Halo Infinite's weapon, vehicle, and equipment sandboxes need a bit of work, but they mesh with the core gameplay well enough that I can wait for nerfs, buffs, and additions. Oh, and one honorable mention is the theater mode. It's more broken than my sexuality is. And no, that's not a joke. You see, I don't normally use theater mode as I don't really use it often enough. That's about to change, stay tuned for more info on that in next month's update video. From time to time, the viewing perspective gets forcibly changed without player input. Yes, that's right. You'll be watching a previous match in theater, one of Halo's key components, and sometimes you won't even see your point of view for half the match. If you're lucky enough, you'll see your point of view for 3/4 of the match you're watching, which happened in the footage you're seeing now. Yes, this is theater mode. It only shows what the server sees. So that player that I killed earlier on my screen, my crosshair was on them the whole time. The server didn't see that since the netcode is that fucking garbage. I will put the kill that I am talking about back on screen again, just so then you know what I'm talking about. So, is Halo Infinite any good? Is it worth getting?
Thanks for sticking around to the end. This one took quite a while to do. I've lost sleep, didn't eat properly for a few days, just so then I could get this finished. Oh, and not to mention, this is the 10th time I've rewritten this script ever since I finished the campaign, which was on the 12th, if I remember correctly. Anyways, links, as usual, are below. Have a good one, and don't forget to eat cotton balls.